All right. Welcome to the 10 Analytics Clarity, the 10 Analytics Masterclass. Now, this masterclass is, we're going to be looking at how to manage a hybrid agile project with distributed teams using Trello. So just before we start the session, I want you to take a minute to invite people that you think could benefit from this session in any way. So invite your sister, invite your wife, invite your best friend, invite your coworker, just anybody that you know that has been trying to get into project management but doesn't exactly know where to start or what exactly it entails. So let's just make sure that we share the link to this session and get them to join. All right. So I'll introduce myself in a bit, but just before I do that, I want to get to know everyone on this call first. So I want you to put your name and where you're joining us from in the chat box. Just your name and where you're joining us from. Let's get to know ourselves. So I'm looking in the chat box right now. Put your name and where you're joining us from. All right, I see Ore, Nigeria. Oreoluwa. I see Jennifer from UK. Welcome, Jennifer. I see Ivanova from England. Welcome. I see Ben from, oh, wow. So we actually have distributed teams on this call right now. I see Akin from the US. Fantastic. Welcome, Akin. I see Bayo from Nigeria. Welcome, Bayo. All right. So now let's kickstart this session with an introduction. All right. So who are we at 10 Analytics and how do we do what we do? All right, so 10 Analytics is a leading educational technology company, and we are focused on providing specialized training in technology skills and also delivering comprehensive data consulting services. Now, for the past almost 5 years, we've spent that time building talents for, the technology workforce, and we have helped over 3,000 people, with no prior experience or knowledge in tech transition from the classroom into their first tech job, across the UK, US, Canada, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Now, 10 Analytics is committed to making the technology sector more accessible, to people of the minority group and also people of the Black community through premium training in data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, cybersecurity, AI engineering, and why we are here today, Agile Project Management and Scrum Master Professional. Now we have a wonderful team of instructors from leading, global companies like Amazon, McKinsey, Microsoft, PwC, and Apple. And these instructors also bring a wealth of real-world experience and are dedicated to delivering an engaging and practical learning experience for you that would also ensure that you receive the maximum value from your investments with us in the future. All right, so who is this person that has been speaking to you for the past 3 minutes? My name is Elizabeth Nana, and I am a product manager and senior agile project manager here at 10 Analytics with half a decade of experience in both product and project management. All right, so I serve as a coach for agile teams and I've consistently been able to drive impactful results, by guiding over 1,000 individuals with no prior agile experience into making a smooth transition into project management, right? So I've trained, a lot of professionals across 4 continents, and my experience also spans across multiple sectors like, the health technology sector, the financial technology sector, and of course, the educational technology sector as well. So with me tonight, I have a wonderful guest. I have Moses Joshua with me. Now, Moses Joshua is a senior agile associate here at 10 Analytics, and you also have years of experience in project management and a passion for organizing teams to deliver impactful results. I talked earlier about, just having a lot of professionals here that bring a real world, a wealth of real world experience into, our classes. And Moses is one of them. Now, throughout his career, Moses has led cross-functional teams. He has refined processes, and he has also applied his expertise across the tech sector by leveraging agile methodologies. Moses is committed to continuous learning and also career growth, and he is very eager to share his insight. That's what is going to be happening tonight, just to help other people also navigate their professional journeys into, agile project management. All right. So if this is your first time joining a 10 analytics, masterclass, I want you to put a 1 in the chat box. If this is your second or third or fourth, just put any number. But if this is your first time, put a 1. Okay, I see Angel. Welcome, Angel. Anyone else? If this is your first time, put a 1. Anyone else? Okay, I see Eniola 1 as well. Welcome, Eniola. Oh, we have a lot of, first timers here. Welcome. Angel is joining from Dublin. Welcome. All right, I see Caleb. Caleb's an OG. All right, great. So, if you stick with me till the end of this session, you will have access to the slide and also the recording of this session, right? During the course of the session, and it's already happening right now, my colleagues are going to be dropping the link to the attendance form. So please make sure you fill the form because that's how we're going to have your details, all right? That's how we'll have your email address so we can send across the recording of this particular session and also the slides. Now I have a lot of, resources linked on the slide, so you do not want to miss out on it. Just make sure you fill the attendance form. Now let's get right into the crux of the matter. What are we here to do today? So we are going to start off by understanding exactly what a hybrid agile project is. And then, Moses is going to be taking you through Trello, is going to do an introduction and also just walk you through how the Trello tool works. Next, we'll look at, the 10 Analytics strategic plan to help you secure a job. And finally, our special discount offer to you. So again, just make sure to stick around till the end of the session. Hi, Moses, are you there?
Hello, Elizabeth. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking, Moses. How are you?
I'm good. Give me a minute. Let me share my screen.
All right, fantastic. I'm looking forward to learning from you as well tonight.
All right. Okay. All right. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you very much for that. All right, guys. So, hello, everyone. My name is Moses Joshua once again, as introduced by Elizabeth. So, and I'll be taking us on hybrid agile project management, right? And how to understand it, and then the tools that can be used or the tool that can be used for it, which is basically Trello that we'll be focusing on today. So before we move into Trello, right, we need to first of all understand the word hybrid agile. What does it mean? When we hear the word hybrid agile, what does it mean? So first of all, I would like to go into like a memory lane or back in time, right? So when project management started, it started as a traditional. We have what we call the traditional project management, where we have different methodologies under it, and the most famous or the best used when it comes to traditional methodologies or traditional project management was waterfall. Waterfall was widely used when it comes to that. And what is this waterfall methodology? What is it about in project management? It simply means a structured plan, structured approach of project. So when you hear waterfall, then it's just like a way of arranging your project or how you want the project to be from beginning to end, right? You're creating a structured plan, a detailed plan. We all know how architectures like do all the plannings and all when they want to construct a building, right? They first of all do all the designs in the book and then make sure every inch is correct, there's no flaw in that design. That is basically how waterfall is. Everything has been designed, everything has been planned, and it is linear. Immediately they start that design, it is difficult to change. So, so they followed that plan that has already been laid down, and they continue with that plan for until the project is done. And
Hi.
if
Hi. So sorry to cut you short. I'm straining to see the words on your slide. Please put it in slideshow
oh,
mode. Yes, thank you.
sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that, please. So, as I was saying before, okay. So as I was saying before, right, the agile methodology, waterfall, when they started, right, it was waterfall that was widely known when it comes to the traditional method, and a lot of people were using it then, right? And it was mainly useful for so many projects. Those times they used it for so many projects like construction and all. And I was using an example of an architecture, right? When he has done his work, right? He has made this plan. He continues to follow that plan until that project is done, right? So if if a change wants to be made in that project, it's gonna be very difficult for it to be made. But it's not that it's not impossible. It is going to be very difficult. There will be much cost on it and all. So imagine that you finish planning your house, you built it to a certain level or to the roofing level, and then the owner of the project now said, "Oh, I would like to add a room to this building or to this side or something. I figure that these three rooms I'm building is not going to be enough. I need like an extra room for like a laundry room." The designer, the architecture will look at you like, what are you saying? Do you know the cost of that? Because it's going to take a lot. So that's agile. It's very difficult to divert from the plan that already been created. Now we are done with, let's just drop that aside and move to agile. Now, this is what was going on then, right? Until we now have the modern project management. And one of the major widely used methodology for the modern one is what? The agile. When we hear the word agile, what comes to our mind? When you hear the word agile, what comes to our mind? I want to see some answer in the chat channel. If you hear the word agile, what comes to your mind? Anyone? Anyone wants to give the go? Flexible, flexible. I love the five ones putting flexible. Response. OG said responsive. That's great. When you hear the word agile means flexible. Some people say effective and fast. That's good. Quick updates and or changes fast. That's very good. So they now found out that, oh, this waterfall is too linear, like, right? There is no room for any changes to be made. It is too rigid. Immediately you start, you just keep going through that part. And as the world is evolving, people are thinking a lot that, what if I want to add this? What if I want to add this extra feature? What if I want to do this? That's when you now think of the idea of agile. Agile now came. So what is agile? Agile is simply an iterative way of working, right? When we say iterative, what does it simply means? Means breaking the project into smaller phases. And this is why we said agile is flexible. As the name implies, flexibility. We are bringing flexibility into project management so that it is going to be easy for us to work in different phases. Divert, oh, I want to add this feature. This feature can easily be added without that much cost that is going to be incurred when you are going through the waterfall. And after all this process has been used, and some people now still think, oh, what if we join these two methods together? A bit of structured plan and a bit of flexibility. That's when they now decide to come up with the hybrid agile. This is an approach that blends the structured planning of waterfall with the iterative flexibility of agile. And then it is the best, both of them are the best in their world, right? We have agile and we have, and when you bring them together, they now produce a good result at the end of the day. Now, the question I would like to ask is what? Why hybrid agile? Why do we even want to go into that? Why hybrid agile, right? So it allows for upfront planning while enabling adaptive, iterative execution. So what does this simply means? Okay, let me give a simple scenario here. Imagine that you're building a house. Or let's use construction as an example. Fine, you've built your house, right? And you follow the waterfall method to build the house, right? But when it comes to the interior parts, you decide to use waterfall, agile. What does it simply means? It means that when it comes to decorations, when it comes to, oh, I want to put this inside my room, I want to change the painting, I want to do this. I want to rearrange my house and all. That's basically agile because it is iterative. You can decide to do it. There's no rigid way to arrange it, right? So this is where hybrid comes in. You are blending a bit of agile and a bit of waterfall together to form a perfect project. Just you can't totally use waterfall to do. And that is what brings us to the hybrid agile. Now let's look at some distributed teams. What distributed teams simply mean. When it comes to agile, right? Most people work remotely when it comes to agile. So we have several people working from different areas of the world or different part of the world, and teams operating across various geographical locations and time zone. This is basically them, right? Imagine that you are working on a project, right? Website development project. Everyone is working remotely, right? You are working from Nigeria, you are working from the UK, you are working from Canada, and so on. Everyone is working with different time zone, different location, and they are bringing diverse perspective and skill sets into the project. This is what agile does. That's why we said it is rigid. So everyone do not need to be inside or be in the same location to actually work together. Right. So you can decide to bring, so that is why we said a bit of the both of them is very important. Right. And we are here today to actually see how we can track this work. If you are working hybrid, how do you track it? But before we move into that, we need to look at some of the challenges that might come with this. So when it comes to working remotely or working with different time zones and people working in different locations, what do we think are some of the challenges that we face or that might be faced in the project like that? Who can help out? What do we think are some of the challenges that might be faced? Okay, time zone, that's great. Might have difference in time and all, which might be causing conflict, right? Some people might be in the morning, some people might be in the night. That's good. Anyone else? All right. We have geographic changes, culture. That's good. Thank you very much, guys. So we have all this included, and one important one is also communication, right? Communication is always key when it comes to different working with people, right? The way you talk to people in Nigeria is different from the way you talk to people in Ghana. It's different from the way you talk to people in the Canada, US, and so on. Right? It's different. So you have to be able to communicate. As Akintunde mentioned here, he said culture. So there are some ways you talk to people and they'll say, "Oh, I don't like that way you talk to me." That's because in their own place, they don't take those kind of communication. They don't relate well with that, right? So communication is necessary. You have to be able to know how to communicate with different people. Next is coordination. The fact that you're having several people from different diverse areas of the world, you should be able to coordinate everyone. And finally, ensure that clear project visibility across different locations is crucial. So, and the end goal of everything is to make sure that everyone from different areas understand what the vision of the project is. Have a clear, visible goal of what the project is trying to achieve so that everyone will be able to work effectively. Now, let's look at why I use Trello for hybrid projects. Now we are coming to this. So we've talked about working with working with people all over the world, right? Now we want to know, how do we track this project, right? Because you can't be calling everyone, "Oh, are you here? Are you here?" How do you track your work? That's what we are here for today. And to do that, we are going to be using the tool known as Trello, which I'll be explaining to you guys how it works and why we are using Trello. And one of the reasons why we use Trello for hybrid agile projects is because it provides a visual Kanban board, What does Kanban board simply means? It simply means a board whereby everyone will be able to put in your tasks. Okay, what are you doing? The tasks you are currently working on, everyone will be able to see it. Everyone will be able to see when you are in progress in that task, when you are moving in that task, when you are done with that task. They'll be able to see it. It's visible to everyone. As long as you are in that workspace, as long as you've been invited to that board, everyone has access to it. So there is a board for tracking tasks and visualizing workflow, making progress clear at a glance. Meaning that there is nothing like you are hiding to do your work. Everything is transparent. If you have not started the work, it will be in to do. That means you are not doing anything. Don't worry, I'll come to that. I'll explain that in a bit. So you will be in the to do. That means you've not moved from where you are currently, right? So when you start working on a project, they see that, oh, you are currently in progress with that task, right? And so on. When you are in review, when you are done, you see that on the board. It's visible. Everyone can see it. So all the tasks for everyone in that team will be listed there. Everyone can easily go and check their tasks and then work on it. Next is what? Customizable card. In this Kanban board, we have what we call cards, right? And these cards are used for the taxes to assign taxes. Flexible card allows due dates, checklists, labels, and attachments, tailoring tasks to your specific needs. What is this simply saying? It simply means you can easily tailor, arrange your card the way you want it, right? You can add your due dates when you want to be done with that project. You can add checklists. What are the things you want to work on in that project, and so on, right? So next is real-time collaboration. So the fact that everyone is working in different region of the world, right? It's hard to actually keep track. So one of the usefulness of Trello is it helps with transparency and it helps with real-time collaboration. It enables seamless real-time updates and collaborative efforts among distributed team members, no matter where you are. So everyone is able to see the amount of work you are putting in. That means, oh, you are currently working on your tasks. They are seeing your work. They are seeing the effort you are putting in. Everyone is able to collaborate on it. And finally, extensive integration. Trello is now so widely used that you can use it, you can integrate other apps with it, right? You can seamlessly connect with popular tools like Slack, Google Drive, and so many more. And to get more on this, on how to use Trello, you can join our program and we'll explain extensively how to use this tool and why it is useful. So now let's move on. We have setting up a Trello board for hybrid agile projects. How do we set up, or what are the steps for setting up a Trello board?
All right, I think Moses might be having a little bit of technical issue. He should be back shortly. Hi, Moses. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Right.
I did not even know I was caught up already. All right. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
All right, that's great. Sorry about that. I don't know if I've gotten here because I was talking to myself all the while. All right, so let me go back a bit. So, all right, so I was here before. I don't know if you guys were able to pay attention or listen to when I was talking about the extensive integration, right? Have I gotten there before I was cut off so that I will know where to get started from?
Yes, yes, Moses.
All right, then that's great. All right. So after the extensive integration, I moved to setting up Trello boards for hybrid agile projects. And how do we do that? What are the steps needed? The first step is what? Your board creation, right? You need to create your board you'll be using. This, when we say board, what does it simply means? It's like a field whereby, oh, you want to set up the field where you'll be adding all your different taxes. Everyone can come in that board and then put in the taxes they're working on or customize their cars the way they want, right? And the next, after the board, after having your board, the next is what? We'll be having workflow lists. When we say workflow list, it simply means adding the different lists that is going to be used for the project, right? The first list we have is backlog. Backlog is simply a place whereby all the tasks for the project is listed. That's your backlog. And then we have to do. We have the to-do list. All of us knows what to-do list is, right? We all know what most of us must have used or seen to-do list before, right? So after the to-do list, the next thing we have is what? In progress. That's another workflow list that is also used. And after that, we have the review and then done. And if you guys remembered when I was talking earlier, when it comes to agile, it is not rigid. There's no rigid way of arranging it. There's no linear path to it, right? I can decide to arrange my list anyhow I want. Not arrange, I can decide to name it anyhow I want, right? I can decide not to add backlog to my own list, right? That's my own way of doing it. I can decide not to add review. I might decide to use another word for the to do. I might decide to use another word for in progress. Let's say inside of in progress, I can put it as ongoing, right? So there's no rigid part. There's no say, oh, you have to use backlog, you have to use to do and so on. No, 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 no. That's not it. You can decide to change it anyhow you want that. And it is in this list that you'll be able to visualize, see the progression of each of the cards. So if you are done with your tasks from to do, you can move your card to in progress and then keep moving it until you have moved it to done. So when they see your card as done, they know that, okay, you're done with that task. So next one we have is what? We have the tax cards. I've been mentioning cards since, right? You guys might be wondering, what is card? Card is simply like you guys know, I don't know if you guys have seen the sticky card before, whereby you used to just write your task you want to do and then stick it somewhere or stick it where it's visible for you, right? Sticky cards. That's more like it, but it is in Trello, right? This sticky card or this card is where you write your tasks you want to do. Each card represents a specific task assigned to team members, and it includes, you can decide to add a precise deadline to it. Oh, this task, I want it to be done by so dates, probably tomorrow or next tomorrow, depends on you. And after that, you add detailed description. That means anyone that's coming to the card and they see, oh, design a flyer, they might not be able to understand, or the designer will not be able to understand, design a flyer, what kind of flyer do you want? Now, in this description box, this is where you put the detailed description of how you want the flyers to be, right? So after that, we'll now move to the final one, which is strategic labeling. So we have what we call the labeling in we have the labeling in Trello. This is simply giving, you know what color codes is, right? Giving color codes to your different taxes. I might decide to use red, I might decide to use blue, and then name it anything I want. Utilize label for clear categorization, indicating priority level, responsible teams, and then distinct sorry about that, distinct tax type. So you can decide to use your label for anything you want to use it for, be it prioritization. Oh, I want to be using to prioritize the tax. I want to use it to um for responsibility, to put people that are responsible for tax and so on, or the type of tax it is, probably a design tax, a marketing tax, so you can decide to name it anything you want to name it, right? So it depends on what you want to use your labeling for. Now, let's now move to our Trello. let's get right into our Trello. Give me a minute. Let me share my screen.
Hi, Moses. Are you there? I think your mic is muted.
All right, sorry about that. As I was saying before, this is the Trello board, and I've created a new workspace for the purpose of this section, right? And to get how to set this up, right? You can join our programs, and we can put you through on how to basically use this Trello from beginning to end and become a pro at it. But for the purpose of it, and not to waste our time, right? I decided to create the workspace that we're going to be using, and I named this workspace demo class. That's what I named it. Now let's get right into it. The first thing we have is what? We have our boards, we have different things. We have our boards, we have members. If you want to invite new members into here, you can decide to use this, right? The next we have is what? We have settings and so on, which we'll not be dwelling into today. So the things we're focusing on is our board, right? So I'll click on the board, and then you see here, create new board. I'll just click on that. And then it will ask me, what is the title I want to use? I just put the title, practical class, practical class for today. All right. And then the next thing I'll do is what? I'll send it. You see other name, workspace. That means the workspace you want it to belong to, which is here already. And then after that, you click on create. So voila, we have our board created. So when we talk about Kanban board, this is our Kanban board, right? This is basically how it looks like, is our field that we're going to be putting in all the tasks we're going to be using, right? So as I've said before, after the board, the next thing we're creating is what? Who can remember? After the board, what did I say we are creating next? Let me see how many people will help me. After the board, what did I say we are creating next? Who still remembers? Anyone? All right. Uh, okay, workflow list. That's great. Thank you very much. Omoyemi. Omoyemik. All right. So we have our workflow list. So we'll create our workflow list. And the first one we have is our backlog, right? So you already have it here. All you need to do is click on add lists, and it has been created automatically for us. The next one we have is what? We have to do lists. And after creating that, the next thing we'll click on the add lists. That means we've added our lists. The next one we have is in progress. In progress. I'll click on that. And then finally, we have the done. And we'll click on that. So when we are done creating the cards and we don't need to create any one again, we can just easily just cancel this, and we'll know that we're okay with this. The next thing we want to do is what? We want to create our cards. What are the cards we'll be using for this project? So the different cards we'll be creating is first card we'll create. I would like to create first card, which is what? I'll name it design. Design. Design a social media post. Media posts or social media graphics. Yes. So this is basically how to create your card. You click on the add card, add a card, and then put in the title. Immediately you put in the title, you just click off. Automatically your card has been created. Now we have this card. The next thing we want to do is we want to impute the description for the card. What is the description? So now to put in description and other stuff for the card, we need to what? Click on the card to open it up. Immediately you click on it, it pops out the card for you that you can fill it in. The next thing is add your description. Oh, explain this your design a social media card, graphics. What do you want? What do you want? Describe how you want it. So you say, I want to, I want to create a graphics. I want to create a graphics relating to project management that I can post on my social media. So now this is me just creating a random task, right? For us to see how it is being basically being created, right? So when we have this, the next thing we want to do is want to save it. So now anyone that comes here can be able to see, oh, you want to create a graphics relating to project management that you can use or that you can post on your social media. Now, the next thing I want to do is anyone that sees this will already know, okay, well, this is what they want. But now I want to be more specific. When I mean more specific, it simply means, oh, the same graphics I'll post for my Instagram is not the same thing that I can post for my LinkedIn, and it's not the same thing that can go to my Facebook. And probably dimensions might be different, or the way the market is for the different platform is different. So I will now go more for that to specify for each of the social media I want to use. So instead of just writing it, oh, use it, I'll create one for LinkedIn, create one for Instagram, and so on. I'll just use a checklist. This is what is called a checklist. I'll list out all the social medias I want the graphics on. So I'll click on the checklist and then I'll title it. The platform. So anyone that sees this knows that it is the platform I want to use this graphics for. So now the first platform is what? Let's say Instagram. So first of all, have our Instagram. After putting that in, you click on add. The next one is, let's say, Facebook. Facebook. Let's say Facebook. And then we'll click on add and so on. Let's say LinkedIn. So I can put it LinkedIn graphics. Like, more specific, LinkedIn graphics or LinkedIn. So since I've put it there as platform, let's put it there as platform. So I have listed all the platform I want this graphics on. So if the designer comes in, he'll be able to see, oh, this is what the person wants, and then these are the graphics, these are the platforms the person need it for. So if the designer is working on it and sees that, oh, I'm done with the design for Instagram, the person can come here and then check it off, click on it, and then you know that, oh, you see the ratings immediately show up here, that's 33% done. When the person is done with Facebook, you click on it, you see that, oh, 67% done. So and so on. This is how you keep rating it until you are finally done with the project or with the stacks. Now, I know this is a bit brief about that, right? So to get extensive knowledge about how to basically use this, how to get a description, how to create your description, how to know the things to put in your checklist, just feel free to take this program with us and you get a knowledge worth of what you're paying for. So the next thing I would like to show you guys is a due date. Now we've known how to put the description, how to put the checklist. Now I want to put a due date. That's a deadline for the project. When I say due date, simply means the deadline for the project. So to get that, all you need to do is click on the dates here, and then you pick the exact date you want. So I can say July 26th. So I want this to be done July 26th, and then I will pick the time, let's say 12. Let's say 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. Let's say 12 a.m. Yeah, I want it by 12 a.m. So immediately they see this, they know that, okay, by 12 a.m., this should be sent, right? So start date is also here. If I'm starting on, that means if I'm starting today, there's no need to click on start date. It automatically starts counting from today. But if I want to pick a different start date from today, then I can now click on start date and I'll select the date I want it to get started. But for now, I'm putting it off because I want it to be started today. So now the next thing I want to show you guys is reminder. When do you want to be reminded that the project is due? Is it 1 hour before the due date, or 1 day before the due date, or 5 minutes before the due date, and so on? So for me, I'll just say, remind me 1 day before so that I'll be able to start working on it if I have not worked on it, right? So after doing all these settings, next thing you do is what? Click on the save button. So after clicking on that, we are done with adding the due date. It automatically shows here that this project is due on July 26th by 12 a.m. Now we're done with that. The next thing we want to do is what? Add labels. I talked about labels. That labels can be used for anything. You can use it for prioritization. You can use it to group the taxes and so on, right? So for the purpose of this, I'll decide to use the label for grouping, right? So the group I'll put this one is going to be the design group. So I'll come here, click on create a new label, and then I'll title it design. So any design task that is coming on this board, the person can just pick the color straight. So any color they see. So what color I'll pick in? Let's pick blue. Let's pick blue for it, and then click on create. And you see that automatically the label shows here. So anyone that comes in here automatically sees that, oh, the design is in blue color. So if any design task is coming up, you can easily use this blue to put it in there. So anyone that sees blue immediate. So let's go back to our card and see how our card looks like outside this pop-up. So I'll click on the X to cancel this. Now this is how our card looks like outside. So we already have our title here, we have our due date, and we have our checklist, the things we need to work on, right? So we have 0 of 3. That means we've not worked on anyone. That's why it's showing 0 of 3. And then we have the blue color signifying that it is a design task. Now, the next thing I want to show you is what? How to add members, right? So if you want to add members to your team, you click on the add members. And if you already have them, the reason why it it's only my name showing here, it's because I'm the only one on this board. I did not send invite link to any other person. That's why I'm the only one showing here. So if I have sent invite and they've accepted to work on this board with me, you will see all their names listed here. Or you click on the add button here and then click on members, and then you also see them listed here also. So that's basically where to see all the taxes. All right. So not to waste our time too much, I would like to wrap up for here. So in case you have any attachments you want to attach, probably a document also, you can easily click on the attach also and then attach it. So to get extensive knowledge on how to use this, you can easily take this course with us and get full knowledge about it. So thank you very much, guys. Don't let me waste your time. So I'll pass the baton to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thank you for having me, and see you guys next time. All right. Elizabeth, you have the floor.
Thank you so, so much, Moses. This was very insightful. Now, I expect to see a lot of reactions, put a lot of emojis or numbers in the chat if you enjoyed what Moses just showed you. All right. Now, do not forget to fill the attendance form because this session is being recorded. And if you'd like to have access to the recording and also the slides that I'll be using, make sure to fill the form. All right, so I'm looking in the chat box. We don't want to just let Moses go like that. All right, so put some emojis in the chat so he knows that we actually appreciate him. I'm not seeing anything in the chat yet. It's looking very quiet. All right, thank you, Aurelua. I need 2 more people and then we continue with the session. 2 more people. 2 more people. Let Moses know he did a fantastic job. And of course, 45 minutes is not enough to learn how to use Trello. Now, if you want to learn how to use Trello more, just make sure to register for the 10 Analytics Agile Project Management course. All right. And who knows, you just might have Moses as your facilitator. Thank you so much, everyone. Now, how do you get started? You have looked at how you've watched Moses, just walk you through the Trello board and how you can create a new board. But, how do you actually get started? Now, I'm, very happy to let you know that you have taken the very first step by being here tonight. Just by being here tonight, you have taken the first step because the first step is to select the right career path for you. Now, the truth is, a lot of us are scared. We hear a lot about AI and how AI is coming to take over jobs. So, a lot of people on this call right now, I know, are skeptical. Yes, I mean, what Moses just showed us is fantastic, but how do we know that, AI is not going to replace us next year? So how do I know? What is the certainty that I have? But if I take this course with 10 Analytics right now, I'm not going to get replaced by AI. Now, here at 10 Analytics, I mean, the name is 10 Analytics Data and Strategy. Whatever it is that we do is backed by data and it's also very, very strategic. Now, what are the tech skills that you need to learn in order to get a job quickly, whether you are in the US, whether you're in Canada, whether you're in the UK, or wherever it is that you are in the world? Now, every single year, at the end of every single year, what we do here at 10 Analytics is that we scrape different job boards. And when I talk about job boards, I'm talking, your LinkedIn, your Indeed, your Glassdoor, Total Jobs, CV Library, and so on and so forth, right? A lot of different job boards. And we scrape them across the different regions for the most occurring or recurring listings, job listings. Now, what that means is we're looking for jobs that has the highest frequency of listings. So say, for example, we scraped LinkedIn in 2024, December 2024, and we found out that, just on LinkedIn alone, we had about 50,000, job posts for the role of an Agile project manager. Now, what that would signify is that, Agile project management is in demand. All right, so that was just hypothetical. Now, we did this for a lot of different jobs and we got, over 100 jobs. Now we realized that in demand. So we took all of these, jobs that we've gotten, and then we decided to conduct an internal data analysis. All right. And we measured all these jobs that we've gotten, against these 3 different criteria you can see on my screen. The first is ease of learning. So yes, we have identified that this job is in high demand. All right, we've identified that in the UK, people are looking for, this particular, career path in the US and also in Canada. But how easy is it to learn the skills that you need to have for this job? All right. And how fast can you do that? So I'll give you an example of one of the jobs that, yes, wasn't, high demand, but didn't quite make the cut. All right. So robotics engineering for one, right? So, robotics engineers are in high demand, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in US, whether it's in Canada, in very much high demand. All right. But can you learn how to become a robotics engineer in 3, 4, 5, 6 months? The answer is no. All right. For robotics engineering, at least you need 1 year and 6 months. That's at least 18 months. You can quote me anywhere. You need at least 18 months to learn the skills that you need to learn, or you need to have, to be a robotics engineer. And even aside from that, you also need to be coming from some sort of background, right? You need to have a prerequisite because there are some things that they require for you to even qualify to, take that training in the first place. So by virtue of this very first criterion, ease of learning, robotics engineering is out of it. So we made sure to, tailor all of these our offerings, according to this, making sure that it's very easy for you to actually get the skills, that you need to get this job that you're trying to get wherever it is that you are. A lot of us on here, we have been out of the classroom for years now. We have other jobs that we're currently working at, and we're just looking to make that transition, to make that switch. So how easy is it to switch, just learn something that you need to do in tech for someone who has been out of the classroom for over 10 years? All right, that is the very first criterion. Now, the second criterion is ease of transitioning. Now, we also want to make sure that, your prior work experience, because a lot of us on here, if I give us the opportunity to speak, you hear people say, oh, you know what, I've been a nurse for 8 years, or I'm a midwife, I'm coming from the health background, I'm currently a carer, or I studied business administration in school, or I've been a teacher for 10 years. Right now, do we want to just throw all of these experience that you have out the window because you're trying to get into tech? The answer is no. So we also wanted to make sure that it's also easy to transition into this new role that you're going into. So how easy is it to transition? What are some of the skills that you already have? What I like to call transferable skills that you can transfer into this new job that you're going into. For example, someone who has worked, as a customer care representative before, right? Or someone who has worked as a teacher, or someone who just likes to, manage teams, for example, would easily thrive as an agile project manager. All right. So taking all of those skills like communication that you have learned over the years, maybe 8 years, maybe 10 years, that you have learned these skills and being able to apply it into your new role. So you don't feel like a fish out of water. All right. You don't feel like a newborn baby. There are things that you already know that you can utilize in this new career path. And then finally, the last criterion we look at is high rewarding salary. So, a lot of us on this call, that's why we're here. We've heard of tech money, and we also want, a piece of the cake as well. So we also needed to make sure that, these jobs that we are going to offer, or these programs that we're going to offer, they actually have high rewarding salaries. And by virtue of that, we were able to come to these 8 different career programs that we offer right now. But I'm not going to go into them. The focus for tonight is Agile Project Management and Scrum Master Professional. Now, we didn't stop here. So we decided to seek external validation, decided to go out there and look for someone who doesn't have any affiliations whatsoever with Analytics that can also, just back what we're saying. Because again, we need to have the data to back it up, right? And then we went out there and found the World Economic Forum, Future of Jobs report for 2025. Now, if you remember earlier, I said, if you stay with me till the end of the session and also fill the attendance form, you have access to the recording of this session and also the slides that I'm using to present to you right now. Now, I have a lot of things linked on the slide. Number one is this, report from the World Economic Forum, right? So once you get the slide, you can actually go over it yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Now, the Future of Jobs report said something very, very interesting. It said in the next 5 years, that's by 2030, about 170 million jobs will be created, while about 92 million jobs will disappear. Now, that's a huge number. Okay, you can see a snapshot of the report right here on my screen. You have some in red, you have some in blue, and then you have some in green. Now, whatever it is that you do, you want to make sure you are not, in the red zone, because that's the danger zone. The red boxes signify the jobs that will disappear or will be destroyed. All right. Again, I have this linked on this slide in case you're interested. Now, what are some of the in-demand career paths, according to the World Economic Forum? You see here, we have project managers. Now, when we see project managers on here, we don't just mean the regular project managers. We mean agile project managers, because these global organizations right now are tilting towards, agile. Everybody wants to, move. Just like Moses said, the waterfall methodology can be a bit rigid. So everybody in every organization is trying to see how they can make their work easier and faster and release iterations, just like WhatsApp, right? When you get new features added incrementally over a period of time. And, the World Economic Forum has already highlighted that agile project management will only continue to grow. So that, for the next 5 to 10 years, you are set, all right? Because at the very core of what we do, we care about sustainability. We don't just want you to take a program or learn a course or learn a new skill that will be obsolete in the next, 2 to 3 years. All right. So who is an agile project manager? I want to believe that everybody on this call, wants to be an agile project manager, and that's why you are here. Now, an agile project manager is a servant leader. It's someone who helps the team, work effectively within an agile framework. I mean, just take a look at Moses and how he came on here to share his knowledge on how you can use Trello, to organize your teams, to work, in a distributed team. Now, that's what agile project managers do, right? You come in and you are a servant leader, meaning that you lead by actually putting the needs of others, above yours, and you're helping the team work effectively within an agile framework, also ensuring that the project delivers value to the customer through continuous delivery, adaptation, and also, improvements. All right, so let's look at a little, just a little analogy to help us further understand the role of, agile project management and basically the agile methodology in today's world. All right, so say, for example, you are trying to build a mobile application that is just like WhatsApp, all right, to enhance customer engagement for your online sales. You have an online business and you're trying to build a mobile application that will be just like WhatsApp to help to enhance your customer engagement. Now, if you are going to go the traditional project management route, the rigid process, it's very sequential, like waterfall, right? It's step by step. What that means is you cannot move on to the next step if you don't complete one step. So you have to do all the requirements gathering that is necessary for that particular project. So even if it's going to take you 2 months or 3 months to gather requirements, you have to finish that before you can move on to the next phase. All right. And then when you move on to design, you also have to finish designing the mobile application end to end, like from beginning to end. You can't design small and say, let's actually build this and see what it looks like. No, you have to start designing everything from start to finish before you can move on to implementation, and then before you move on to testing. Now, it's very rigid like that. And if you were to go the traditional project management route, it will take you at least 7 months to build this application we're talking about. Sometimes it will span, 2 years even, right? Because there's a lot of work that needs to go into such an application. But if you're going the agile route, if you take, the agile, step to this project, now you could start your sprint planning, you could start your continuous development and testing. Now, what this means is you can actually gather requirements for just a section of the application, design just that section and start implementing while the team also continues designing the other sections. So it's different from traditional project management, because traditional project management, you would have had to finish the entire design end to end before you can start implementation. But adaptive project management or agile would actually allow you break down your project into smaller manageable tasks, where you're able to, for example, work on the login feature, right? And then you work on the sign up feature and so on and so forth. So you have a fully functional application. Now, it also helps with, what we call faster time to market, because then once you put your application out there, you're actually able to keep building, in the background while users are using your application. Case in point, WhatsApp. All right. So, we have a lot of new features that keep getting added to WhatsApp. When WhatsApp started, I think over 10 years ago, it started as simply, a messaging, or a chat application, right? Just to chat, right? But over time, they introduced video calls, they introduced state dates, and now the latest one, I think, is, being able to add music to your status. All right, they also introduced channels. Now, all of this was done, background work was done while we, the users, were actually consuming this product, while we were using it. So if WhatsApp had said they wanted to wait until they had video calls, status uploads, and so on and so forth, we probably would not even have WhatsApp up until today, because I can guarantee you that in the next couple of months, they'll have a new update that would be released. Now, that is an example of the agile process: continuous development, continuous adaptation, and also continuous testing. Now, if you were to go the agile project management route, you would probably use 1 month to build your application and push it out there in the market. Now, that's the difference between both methodologies. Now, let's just move on. Now, what are some of the different careers? Just some. All right, the keyword here being some. Some of the different careers you can start upon completing this program with us here at 10Analytics. You can become a Scrum Master, you can become a Scrum Team Facilitator, you can become an Agile Coach, a Lean Agile Coach, a Project Coordinator, a Lean Project Manager, a Technical Scrum Master, and even an Agile Project Manager, and so much more. So you're not just boxed into project management, you're very versatile. All right. If they say it's Scrum they're looking for, you are there. If they say they need someone to help them with budgets, you are there. If they say they're looking for, someone to come and guide their team on the agile methodologies, you are there as well. All right. So you're not boxed into project management alone. All right. Now, what are some of the key learning areas? What do you need to know in today's world to become an effective agile project manager? Now, I've said earlier, an agile project manager is a servant leader. And, as agile project managers, we serve as the coach or the facilitator for the team. So what that means is we'll be in charge of the project team, right? We're in charge of making sure people are actually getting work done, following the agile principles, and, just following the core values of agile. Right. So the things that you need to know, the things that you'll be taught in class here at 10Analytics, we'll start off with introduction to project management methodologies and also structure. So you don't have to worry about not even having any prior experience, because that is why we're here. Okay. We're here to hold your hands and make sure that we start from the basics and teach you everything that you need to know. So we're going to be looking at the different project management methodologies, the agile approach, the hybrid approach, as well as the waterfall methodology. And not just looking at it, but also helping you to understand and teaching you how you can identify the best methodology to use for what project. All right. So looking at this project and saying, what, the agile methodology would be best for this project, or, the hybrid approach would be best for this project. So we're going to be teaching you how you can do that. And then we move on to project management structure. And when we talk about the project management structure, we're talking about the project life cycle. All right, so what are the different phases that your project must pass through if you're looking to have a successful project at the end of the day? I'm talking from your project initiation phase to your project planning phase, to your project execution phase, to the monitoring and control phase, and finally to the closure phase. And not just looking at all these different phases, but understanding all the different documentation, all the different activities that need to happen in these phases. For example, in your initiation phase, things like your feasibility study, how you can carry out a feasibility study for your project to even ensure that the project is viable in the first place. Moving on to how you can prepare a business case, to how you can build a project charter, to how you can work on your work breakdown structure, and so on and so forth. For all these different phases, you're working on all of these different documentation and activities that needs to be carried out to ensure that you have a successful project at the end of the day. Next, we move on to project management skills and communication. So the skills that you need to have as a project manager, and also how you can tailor your communications to fit your different audiences. All right, because I'm going to tell you the truth right now. As a project manager, you're going to be liaising with different type of stakeholders, right? You'll be talking to designers, you'll be talking to developers, you have external stakeholders, you have your project sponsor or the execs in the company, and so on and so forth. And the way you communicate or the communication channels you establish with an external stakeholder, for example, will be different from the communication channels that you establish with, the project sponsor or even someone in your team, right? In your project team. So how do you tailor your communication to fit your audience? Next, we take a look at the foundations of Agile and Scrum. So the foundations of the Agile methodology. Before we jump into Trello, all right, understanding the basics, right? What does Agile even mean? right? What is the foundation of, the Agile methodology? Well, what are the different frameworks that we have under the Agile methodology as well? And then we do a deep dive into the two most popular ones, the Scrum framework and also the Kanban framework. Must have heard Moses mention more than 10 times on this, session today, talked about, the Kanban board, the Kanban board, the Kanban board. Now we're going to be doing a deep dive into the both of them, all right, because it goes way beyond Trello. So understanding the Scrum framework end to end. Now we're talking about the Scrum artifact. And when I say Scrum artifact, I mean the increments. What does increments mean? The sprints, how do you run sprints, your sprint backlog, your product backlog, and so on and so forth. Also, understanding the different Scrum ceremonies or events, right? Like your sprint planning, your daily stand-up, your sprint review, your sprint retrospective, your backlog grooming, and so on and so forth. And then we move on to advanced Scrum and Agile practices. All right. And this is where, you learn how to write user stories. Because again, as a project manager, you're also sort of like the middleman, right? You're the bridge between the non-technical stakeholders, like the executives, the CEO, the project sponsor, the external stakeholders, and so on and so forth, even your end users, and then the technical people, being the developers, the designers, and so on and so forth. So how do you get requirements from the non-technical people, from the business people in that organization, and then translate it in a language that the developers would understand, so that they're able to understand how you have broken down these requirements into actionable tasks that they can start working on, just like what Moses did on his Trello board earlier. All right. So you are going to actually be learning how you can write user stories so that you're able to also relate what you have heard from your external stakeholders or from the non-technical stakeholders to the technical guys. And then we look at end-to-end use of Jira and Confluence in project. Now, not just Jira, but also Trello. So what you saw tonight, what Moses showed you, was just a snippet of, what Trello can do. And now, if you take this course, you're actually also going to be learning how you can use Jira to track and manage tasks. All right, to be able to track your project deliverables, to track your bugs, your stories, your epics, your features, your tasks, your child issues, and so on and so forth. All right. And then you also be learning how you can use Confluence end to end, to store your project documentation and also for collaboration, which is especially, wonderful to have if you are leading a distributed team. All right. If you have someone in Canada, you have someone in the UK and the US, some people in Nigeria, in Abuja, Port Harcourt, and so on and so forth. How do you bring this team together to work on a common goal? All right. Without having to call somebody, oh, I need this document. Oh, this person is sleeping. Oh, it's nighttime in Canada. Oh, you don't have to do that. How can you access all of these things that you need for your project on Confluence? Next, we look at Kanban boards for workflow management, like I mentioned earlier. And then we look at Agile metrics and reporting. So when we talk about Agile metrics, these are things that you use to track the health of your project as an Agile project manager. All right. So how are you able to tell if your project is on track? How are you able to tell if your project is behind schedule or ahead of schedule? Are you able to track the productivity of your team members to make sure that they're actually working? All right. They're not just taking their salary, but they are working the way that they should, be working. Now, these metrics I'm talking about, I'm talking about metrics like your velocity, your burn-up charts, your burn down charts, your lead time, your cycle time, your cumulative flow diagram, and so on and so forth. So you'll be learning all these different metrics and how you can actually generate them on Jira, okay? Because it's data, all right? So how you can generate these reports on Jira and the kind of reporting that you need to do for your different stakeholders. So similar to what you do with communication, you'll also be learning how you can tailor your reporting to fit your different stakeholders. What kind of metrics would a project sponsor be interested in seeing? What type of metrics would a team lead be interested in seeing? And how you can tailor that report, draw insights, and just make actionable next steps from your report. Now, next we look at leadership and real world application. So leadership management, they're two very different things. And a lot of people often confuse both of them. But now we're going to be teaching you the both of them and how you can merge them, in order for you to become an effective Agile project manager. And when I say real world application, the beautiful thing about everything that I've been speaking about today is that, when I started from the beginning and I started with, the introduction to the project management methodologies, every single thing I've been talking about tonight you actually be learning them using projects. All right, I'll take it again. Every single thing that I talked about tonight, you're actually going to be learning them using projects, meaning you're going to be working on a lot of projects here. Now, that is just to also help you build experience, build your portfolio. Okay, you have a lot of projects that you'll be working on. So you're not just coming to class to come and read a textbook or to come and say, oh, what is Agile? What is Scrum? What is Kanban? But you're actually getting case studies. You're actually being assigned projects that you have to work on, just so you can also get ready for the real world, get ready to actually manage projects in the real world. And if you're also someone that is looking to get professional certifications in project management later in your career, like your PMP, your Prince 2, your CAPM, your PSM, PSM 1 and 2, and also CSM as well. This program also helps to equip you for that. All right, now let's talk about the learning approach. Now we have a blended learning approach. What I mean is we have live classes, a combination of live classes and what we call watch me do it videos. So they're live classes and they're also self-paced learning. Now, the reason for this is very simple, right? A lot of us on here, we have kids, we have our, regular 9 to 5s, we're working while we're trying to pick up this skill, right? We work night shifts and so on and so forth while we're trying to pick up this skill. So we also wanted to make sure that there's enough flexibility. So if you miss a live class, for example, these sessions are always recorded, just like this Zoom meeting right now. It's recorded and you can have access to the recording if you fill the attendance form in the chats that my colleagues have been dropping. All right, so now we have 2 live classes in a month. So 2 Saturdays out of 4 Saturdays in a month, you have a live class. All right, and then we have 2 different timings as well to accommodate people from different time zones. So we have the morning class, which is 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. And then we have the evening class, which is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time. You are allowed to choose which class is convenient for you, right? If you're free in the mornings and you'd like to take the morning class, you can pick the morning class. If you're free in the evenings and you'd like to take the evening class, you can pick the evening class. But here's the catch. You can only pick one of them. All right, what this means is if you pick the morning class, you have to stick with the morning class till the end of the program. And then if you pick the evening class, you also have to stick with the evening class till the end of the program. Now, outside of the live classes, you also have what we call, drop-in sessions. And these happen twice every week. All right, so drop-in sessions are also live sessions, all right, but they are not classes. So there are sessions such as this one, you have your facilitator, sharing their screen, and you can also come in here and ask questions. So now you can unmute your mic and speak. You can raise up your hand. You can even share your screen. So you have been assigned a project, you're working on Jira, but you're not getting something. You were taught something and you're working on it right now and you're not quite getting it and you have some questions. Now you can, come to the drop-in session, which happens twice every week, and show your facilitator and say, hi, Elizabeth, I've been working on this project you assigned and I was trying to, create a new project on Jira, but I've not been able to get a hang of it. Can you please tell me what I'm doing wrong? Now that's what the drop-in sessions are for. And they're also always recorded. So if for any reason you miss a drop-in session, you would also always have lifetime access to the recordings. Now let's talk about the self-paced videos. Upon registration, every single participant is added to our learning management system, our LMS, where we have pre-recorded videos on there. You have, facilitators such as myself and Moses, with pre-recorded videos that has been uploaded for you to watch at your own time. Again, flexibility. So while you're on your way to work, you can just plug in, you're in the train, you can just plug in your earphones and listen to watch all of these videos. And then if you have questions, you can write them down, bring them to the drop-in session, or if you can't wait till the drop-in session, you actually be added to a closed WhatsApp group chat with your facilitator. So imagine having, direct access to myself or having direct access to Moses, right? So if you have any questions, you're in a closed WhatsApp group chat with your peers and your facilitator, and you can always drop your question there and have it answered immediately. All right, so that is that for the learning approach. And let's look at the learning timeline. So the timeline for this program is 6 months. So you have, 8 months. So you have 6 months learning in class and then 2 months of internship. So you'll be learning with us here for 6 months, 6 months of immersive learning, soaking yourself, working on a lot of projects, right, while you're with us. And then we move you to our partner company, Amdari, which is a company in the UK, all right, a consulting company in the UK, and there you are able to work on real projects, real life projects. You have a team that you're working with. So as a project manager, you have business analysts on your team, you have cybersecurity analysts on your team, data analysts on your team. So you learn how to work with people and work on real life projects. All right, now, if, after everything I've been saying, you're not quite sure if Agile Project Management is for you, you might want to take the quiz on my screen right now. So you can actually bring out your phone and scan this QR code on my screen, or, like I said, make sure to fill the attendance form so you have access to this slide, because I also have the link to the quiz here. So you can just take this very short quiz, 2 minutes, to find out exactly what tech career suits your personality and which is the best for you as well. All right, now what is the strategy that will land you a job in 2025 and even going into 2026? The first thing you want to do is learn. So identify the program that you want to go for, identify the skills that you want to pick up, and then, focus on immersive learning, immerse yourself in that, learn, all the things you need to know to become an agile project manager. And then next, you want to position yourself strategically. All right. So make sure that you're actually employable, like your CV revamp, your LinkedIn optimization, having a portfolio to show all the different projects that you've worked on, and so on and so forth. So I'll be talking about this in coming slides. But then the third step is to apply like a machine, but make sure that you're being precise. All right. So make sure that you're tailoring every single application to fit the exact job description of the role you're applying for, so as to beat the applicant tracking system, the ATS, just to make sure that, your CV is not just flung out at the door. It actually gets to the desk of a human being, and they're able to review your CV and, invite you for an interview. Make sure you are applying to at least 10 jobs every single day. All right. And that is how you get your dream job as an agile project manager. All right, so let's take a look at some success stories. There's something we like to say here. It always seems impossible until it is done. You're saying, oh, it sounds very sweet. It sounds very sweet. Elizabeth has just been talking and talking. Look at what Moses did. It sounds very sweet, but how am I sure I can do it? I've been a midwife for the past 5 years. I've been a nurse for the past 8 years. I have a nursing background. I have, I'm a teacher. I used to work as a customer care representative. How am I sure that I can actually do what Elizabeth is saying? How am I sure that I can get into this with zero experience? Now, I have a lot of people on the slide, and I can actually dedicate an entire 5-hour session to just talk about our success stories. All right, here at 10 Analytics, we have an 88% success rate, and it is because of our strategy. All right, so here are some success stories. I'm not going to dwell on it. If you were with us at the beginning of the session, you must have seen some videos, just playing, and then you also have access to this. So make sure to fill the attendance form. All of these are linked on the slide. Now, your technical skills, are not enough to get you the job. Point blank, period. Your technical skills are not enough to get you the job. Yes, it's fun knowing how to use Trello. Wonderful knowing how to use Jira. Oh, yes, the project management methodologies. I know them, but how do you stand out? How do you make sure that you're employable? How do you make sure that you're someone that recruiters would also, be looking out for, right? Trying to reach out to, and that's where your employability skills come in. So the technical skills is only, just 50% of what you'll be learning here with us at 10 Analytics. The other 50% is your employability skills. How do you stand out? All right. When we talk about your employability skills, we're talking about your CV. First off, right? This is the first service that we offer. We help to revamp your CV, right? We help you to, just have tailored CVs so that, like I said earlier, you're able to beat the applicant tracking system. You're able to get invitations for interviews as well. And now we don't just revamp your CV for you. After revamping your CV for you, we also teach you. So we're not just giving you fish to eat. We're also teaching you how to fish. We're making you fishers of men. Okay, so we're teaching you how to fish as well. So also understand how you can tailor your CV to fit the different, jobs that you want to apply for. Next is your LinkedIn optimization. So we have LinkedIn optimization sessions, which are also recorded. All right, every live session here at 10 Analytics is recorded. Now we are going to be teaching you how you can strategically position yourself on LinkedIn so that in as much as you're out there applying for jobs, recruiters are also reaching out to you on LinkedIn, trying to start up a conversation with you. And they're like, hi, Aurelua, I just took a look at your profile. It's very impressive. We don't know if you would be chance. We currently have an opening in our company. And if you're interested, please drop your email address so we can send you, a meeting invite. And just like that, you've gotten an interview. All right. So how do you do that? How do you get to that point? We will be teaching you that as well. Next, we have navigating the job market, where we have our founder, Adeza Suleiman, and also we bring people, people that have taken the project management course and have landed jobs in the UK, in the US, in Canada. They can come back to the classroom and just tell you exactly what it is that they did that worked for them and how you can also tap into that. Also, just to provide this hand holding, because again, this is new terrain. This is unfamiliar terrain for a lot of us here on this call. So you need that hand holding. You need someone to also show you how you can navigate this job market, how you can break into the job market and hit the ground running. Next, we have interview preparatory sessions. So you send out your CV, or a recruiter reaches out to you on LinkedIn, they send you a meeting invitation, and they tell you would like to speak to you, would like to have an interview with you next week, Monday. All right. Of course, a lot of us here, when you get that, you're already scared. You have an interview coming up now. Not to worry. You can also book a one-on-one interview preparatory session with someone here at 10 Analytics. You can book a one-on-one session with a professional. Now, that person will conduct a mock interview for you, or an interview simulation, basically to prepare you for the main interview that you're going for. So just to show you how, answer these questions this way. These are some of the questions you should be expecting. And if they ask you this question, this is what you should say. All right. So you just know exactly what you're meant to do and what projects you're meant to talk about. By the time you're walking into the main, interview, you already have your confidence boosted. Now, the next is job reference letter. All right. So when you get a job and you need a recommendation letter or a reference letter, here at 10 Analytics, we're more than happy to, help you with one as well. Number 6, the least popular of our services is on the job support. And it's the least popular because, after 8 months, a lot of people do not need extra support. But just in case you do, you land your first job, right? And, for the first 1 month, you don't exactly know how to carry out certain tasks. Your legs are a bit shaky. Now, you can always come back to us here at 10 Analytics, right? And book a one-on-one session, and you have a professional guide you on how you can go about that particular task that is stressing you out. Next, we have weekly mentorship sessions. All right. So like the name implies, right, is mentorship. Everybody needs a mentor. So you have mentorship sessions that happens every single week on Thursdays. And these mentorship sessions are also always recorded. And finally, last but not the least, for people who are looking, into freelancing, landing remote jobs, we're also going to help you, optimize your Upwork profile in order to get these jobs as well. All right, so there are a lot more success stories that I can share with you today. For example, we have Lois. I'm just going to take Lois and then just make sure you fill the attendance form, okay? Because we have links to all of these success stories. You can watch these people in real time. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to believe everything I say. Just, get the slides and see for yourself and listen to what these people have to say about how we were able to help them land their first role in tech. So we have Lois, who was an accountant and procurement professional with 0 experience in tech. All right. There's a reason it's in caps. 0 experience in tech. Now, Lois actually joined our business analysis training program. And afterwards, she was able to also secure a job as a project manager because she was able to leverage the project management skills that she was taught in business analysis. Now, this can be you. Lois doesn't have 2 heads. We have Ngozi, we have Oluwadamilare as well. We have Ololade, we have Bukola, all of these wonderful, beautiful, and handsome faces on here. They don't have 2 heads. And, I'm looking forward to getting some of your pictures, some of the people on this session as well, so I can add your pictures on here, when it is time for you to tell your own success story. All right, so I don't want to waste too much time here. Remember to fill the attendance form so you have access to this. All right, so these are, more and more and more success stories. Now, this one is one that is very dear to my heart. All right, so this is from Esther, in the APM program. She joined in April. Now, remember, I said the duration for this training program is 8 months. Now, that does not mean that you have to wait 8 months before you can land a job. All right, so from the very second month after training with us, in your second month, we already start encouraging, our participants to start applying for jobs because we would have helped you revamp your CV. Now, Esther joined the program in April, and, she was able to land a job in July. So she's actually still in the program, but she was able to land a role in the UK 4 months into the program. So this was just, Esther sending a message, just very happy. She sent one to the program coordinator and, myself as well, just to talk about how the interview preparatory sessions and also the case studies. Again, I cannot emphasize this enough. The case studies and the projects that she worked on in class and how she was able to use those case studies to answer our interview questions. So don't take my word for it. Just make sure you get these slides. Whatever you do, do not miss the slides and the recording for this session. All right. I promise you it is value packed. All right, so let's just keep all of these testimonials. Now, if you have been wondering, you liked everything that you've been hearing, since I started speaking, the next cohort is, starting on the 9th of August. So we have a new class that starts every single month, and the next one is starting next month on the 9th. All right, you can join our next cohort. Now, our program is priced at $900. However, we have a discount running for the first 20 people, an early bird discount for the first 20 people to register for the Agile Project Management Program. Now, if you, among the first 20 people, instead of paying $900, you get to pay $750. And the good news is you can also pay in installments. All right, you're able to split your payments and you're also able to pay in your local currency. So let's take a look at what that looks like. The link to the enrollment center is linked here. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Remember, I said the discount is only available to the first 20 people. All right, so this is what the 10 Analytics Enrollment Center looks like. Now, if you're looking to book your slots, all right, even if you still want to have a one-on-one conversation with me, that can be arranged. But make sure to book your slots first before you hear sold out. All right, so once you access the 10 Analytics Enrollment Center, all you need to do is scroll down. All right, and identify the program you're going for. In your case, it is Agile Project Manager, Scrum Master Professional. You want to click on register for APSM, and then it opens up the payments plan for you. Now, it's always going to be displayed in your local currency. So in as much as I said, $750, you don't have to bother yourself about, how you can convert your money or convert to USD. You don't have to do that. Now, there is a geolocation feature on this site. Wherever it is in the world that you click this link from, you get to see the price in your local currency. So what that means is if you're here in the UK and you click on this link, you see it in pounds. If you're in Nigeria, you click on the link, you see it in Naira. If you're in Canada and you click on the link, you see it in Canadian dollars, and so on and so forth. So now we have the equivalent of our discounted price in pounds. However, there is something I want us to note here. It says 6 seats available. Now, what this means is 14 people have registered using the discounted price. They have booked their slots for the August session, the August cohort or the September cohorts. They've been able to book their slot, and we only have 6 left. Now, what this means is if we have 6 people, let's look at the amount of people we have on this call tonight. If we have 6 people from all of you on this call tonight, make payments right now, the discount is over. Okay, so I can't tell you, oh, you know what, don't worry, the discount will be on till the 30th of July. All I can tell you is that we only have 6 seats left. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure to secure your spot tonight. All right, now I mentioned the payments plan initially. You're able to split your payments for as many as 5 months. All right, you can choose to pay once, you can pay 2 times, you can pay 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times. Now, the equivalent of $750, which is the discounted price, is 615 pounds. All right, $750 is 615 pounds. However, for people who want to pay once or twice, we now added another special discount for you. We took off an extra $50. So instead of $750, you get to pay $700, which is about 575 pounds if you're paying once or twice. All right, because we understand it's a lump sum. All right, it's a lot of money to just drop all at once. But if you want to pay once or twice, you get to pay 575 pounds and still save some money. But if you're looking to split your payments 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times, you'll be paying £615. Now, what that means is you can secure your spot with as little as £123, right? You can say, I'm paying £123 right now, and I want to start class in August. Now, what that means is you get into class, you're already working on projects, you're getting the value that you need while you're paying £123 for 5 months. All right. So let's select this payment plan. So for the sake of this presentation, I'm going to go with, the 5 monthly payments, meaning I'm saying, oh, I want to register right now and I want to pay £123. So once you select that, you click on secure your seat, and it simply shows you that you have £123 due today, right? You're making a payment right now. You have £123 due exactly 1 month from now. You have £123 due exactly 2 months from now, and so on and so forth, till you finally complete your payment. And once you click on proceed, it asks you to put in your card details, all of that fun stuff. And once you make payments, you want to make sure that you take a screenshot of your payment receipt and come back here to the main site and click on upload your receipt. So once you upload your receipt, a rep from Analytics would reach out to you, even get an email, just letting you know that we have received your payment and your details, and just make sure we get you in class for the 9th of August. All right. So I'm going to be looking in the chat right now to see if I have any questions from anyone. So I see Bright. Bright says, currently studying Masters in International Project Management in the UK. How does this align with me? Fantastic question. Now, Bright, you agree with me that what you're doing right now, you're not necessarily working on a lot of projects, all right? You're learning the theoretical aspects, you're working on your thesis, and so on and so forth. Now, if you actually want to get your hands dirty, because I personally do not believe in entry-level roles. You see, entry-level project manager, for example, and by the time you open it, you see 1 year, at least 1 year of experience. So how do you get that experience? That's where we come in. That's the magic that we bring to the table. All right, you getting your hands dirty and working on a lot of projects. So you don't just know the theoretical aspect. You don't just know the definition of Scrum. You know what it is. You can embody Scrum, right? You understand the Scrum framework. You're good enough to be a Scrum Master. You are a Scrum Master already, in fact, because you have worked on multiple projects. Now, that is how this program aligns with what you're doing. So it's just going to add to what you're already doing, in your master's degree, and make sure that you have hands-on experience as well. So let's see. Fumi says, you are so eloquent. Thank you so much. You're almost talking me out of my data analytics dream. Please make sure to come over to the good side. All right. Come over to the good side, Fumi. Next, we say, can I talk like you when I'm done taking the course? Exactly. If you want to speak like me, in fact, the first 6 people that want to speak like me, just make sure to register for the program. If you also want a one-on-one, session with me, that can be arranged as well if you have other questions that you'd like to share with me. But make sure you run. Don't walk. Run to the Analytics Enrollment Center and secure your spots. All right. And when you're uploading your receipts, just put it in there that you would like to speak to a professional. Now you have someone from Analytics that would reach out to you immediately. All right. Let me see if I have additional questions. So no more questions. We have come to the end of this wonderful session. If you have additional questions for me, I will not be able to take all the questions. All right. I will not be able to take all the questions. Right. So if you have additional questions for me, make sure, secure your slots, and, say that you want to speak with a professional. I'll be more than happy to speak to you one-on-one as well. All right. So do not forget to fill the attendance form so you can have access to this slide. You can see that there are a lot of links on the slide. There are a lot of resources. If you want to learn more about Analytics, what we do, how we do what we do, some of the articles that we've been featured in, we have all of that linked on here. If you want to also view our accreditation, and also the certificates that you'll be getting upon completion of this course, you will also be able to see that, as well as see, some of the companies that, our participants are currently working in. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me, right now. Make sure to fill the attendance form, make sure to secure your spots. All right. It's limited. We have just 6 people. And right now I'm looking at it, we have 5 people. 1 person has secured their spot. So if you're looking to make sure you want to pay the discounted price, you want to save, $150 to $200, make sure to secure your spot, and I will see you when I see you. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me, and bye for now.